بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. In the first verse of Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly tells us that He created both partners, man and woman, from the same source, which signifies our equality as humans, making it the basis of marriage. And when one partner starts considering himself or herself superior to the other, it causes an imbalance in marital relations, leading to dysfunctional marriages. Previously, we discussed some causes for early divorces. In this session, we will continue on the reasons of early divorces within the Muslim community, especially those living in the West. Divorce is no doubt on the rise in the Islamic community here, as statistics show Muslims across the board are getting divorced in higher numbers, and this is definitely not restricted to a certain ethnic group. A local imam and member of the Islamic Association and the Fiqh Council of North America reports that there's at least one couple a day who are in conflict, including a good majority who seek divorce. He believes divorce is an intense, fanatical, and progressive problem in the Muslim community, and that, regrettably, the Ummah is in a mess when it comes to marriage. Our wonderful deen, Islam, gives us guidelines in all aspects of our lives, and if we follow in those guidelines, we will, inshallah, reach solutions. So, let's look into more reasons. Interfaith marriages has been quite a prevailing factor in breaking the bond of marriage. Islam clearly forbids a Muslim woman to marry a non-Muslim man. Now, with the diversity in the United States, several Muslim women have taken this step but regret it later. Such an action in most Muslim families results in the woman being isolated from her family with no support. As a result, when marital disputes arise, these women are deprived of parental and family support, which is there for other Muslim couples. These Muslim women may also experience a guilt for not following the Islamic rulings, disobeying in Allah's commands, and hurting their parents. It is usually seen that Muslim women ask non-Muslim men they want to marry to convert to Islam shortly before the marriage in order to get approval from their parents. This can definitely lead to marital disputes. Multiple things usually happen. Either the man becomes a truly practicing Muslim and the couple no longer remains compatible. In this case, it is often the girl who seeks divorce. Or the guy is bombarded with Muslims from the community wanting to invite him to Islam, which becomes so overwhelming for him that he gets frustrated and sometimes to the point that he wishes to abandon Islam, returning back to his old religion. It is sad that we don't even spare Allah's true deen to fulfill our desires. We become slaves to our own selves and disobedient to Allah. It's incredible how a girl uses Islam in this manner just to achieve a worldly benefit, forgetting that when doing this injustice, how deeply she is impacting others around her, how many people she's hurting in the process, her parents, the family honor, not to mention her own self in the long run. if she's sincere in the relationship and is serious about spending the rest of her life with this man, she should strive on keeping him on the straight path and make him love Islam with her own actions, being the role model herself. Another scenario in such cases could be, since a man is the dominating partner in a couple, he may force her to be inclined towards his beliefs. There are definitely substantial reasons why Islam has forbidden a woman to marry a male not belonging to the Islamic faith. When we, as believers, fail to fulfill our obligations towards our deen and remain bound to our impulses, we don't deserve Allah's grace, protection, and favors. Another reason is intercultural marriages, or marrying in a culture different from one's own. Though Islam does not forbid intercultural marriages, they can become a source of constriction when Muslims, primarily the couple, but also their families, make their culture more significant than Islam. If parental support exists for an intercultural marriage, things are smoother for the couple. On the other hand, if there is hostile opposition on the part of one or both sets of parents, in the long run, it could prove to be better to not marry someone belonging to an entirely different ethnic group, as this could lead to unprecedented relations, and even in breaking the bond of this secret union. Another disturbing cause for divorces is when the modern American Muslim girl meets the conservative, old-fashioned Muslim boy. When young Muslim women of the West are highly being encouraged to be strong and confident, unfortunately, boys are being raised in the same obsolete orthodox way and with the same cultural expectations as their fathers and their grandfathers. As a result of contradiction, young couples face a huge struggle when the old-fashioned young Muslim boy won't lift a finger around the house because he never saw his dad do any housework, and his young contemporary Muslim wife, raised in a Western culture, expects him to pitch in. And there's actually nothing wrong with the boy giving her a helping hand as far as she carries out her responsibilities as well. It is also generally understood among Muslim males that their wives are not supposed to argue with them in any way, since they never saw their mother do so with their father, while he can boss her around in any way. This again is cultural, as both need to be nice and polite to each other. We see from the life of our beloved Prophet, may peace and salutations be upon him, that his wives used to ask him questions and discuss matters with him, and he was always very responsive and gentle towards them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the dilemma of today is our kids are not being brought up according to the Islamic teachings, and boys and girls are being raised very differently. Parents have to be more careful to give proper training to both children. Also, parents need to intervene in cases of disputes of this nature and be fair and not favor their own child. We need to be conscious that Allah is watchful over all our deeds. A common reason is lack of domestic skills. Today, girls are being encouraged to seek professional careers and to become scientists, engineers, and doctors. And in pursuing highly paid careers, there is little to no emphasis laid by their parents on gaining any domestic skills. We need to remember that in Islam, while women are not forbidden from working within the Sharia boundaries and men are encouraged to help with housework, a woman's primary duty is within the home as a home manager and mother. Though in the beginning it might not seem to be a big deal, but few months later or in the course of a year, as a result of the lack of domestic skills, many married couples find themselves in messy homes, no proper meals, which in turn ends up in frustration and disappointment. In such cases, usually the girl is seen to be too arrogant prioritizing her job and career, living in that unrealistic world that she can find anyone, either because of the amount of money she makes and how successful she is, or just being stuck up about her looks. On the other hand, when both partners are working outside the house, husbands too need to pitch in more in the home and remember that the wife is not a robot, but a human being with feelings who also needs rest after a hard day of work and deserves affection and care. If we look at the life of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was the best of creations and who had superiority over all humans, was so humble that even with the heavy responsibility of prophethood on him, used to help his wives with household chores, even in their very primitive lifestyles.
هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن.
In this part of Surah Al-Baqarah of the glorious Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the spouses garments for each other, as both have an equal status in sharing the responsibilities of marriage. And just like a garment covers the body, both confide fully in each other and share their joys and sorrows without any hesitation, and protect each other from external dangers as well. Beautify each other with grace and dignity, and shield each other from external worries. If they're committed to such a relationship, they would definitely overlook each other's faults, which leads us to another reason, which is spiritual incompatibility. There's a growing problem in North America where Muslims from all around the world live and carry different understandings of Islam. There seems to be a disturbing lack of tolerance amongst young Muslims, and this intolerance is being transferred to marriages where a couple may differ on minor points of faith, but they get caught up on the we are right and everyone else is wrong mentality. Married couples, at least, must understand the difference between an Islamically acceptable difference of opinion and one that is not. They definitely need to develop a tolerance, balance, and respect for their differences on that basis, instead of jumping to conclusions. And families as well need to be supportive instead of contributing more hostility. In verse 134 of Surah Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about controlling anger and forgiving people.
الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين.
And Allah ends this verse by saying that indeed He loves those who do utmost good. We Muslims are reminded to begin everything with Allah's name and His two great attributes, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the most gracious, the most merciful. Allah Himself is merciful, and He wants us to be merciful to His creation. But unfortunately, in our anger and our arrogance, we even forget about mercy. And sadly, one disturbing factor leading towards divorce is parenting. The clashes that result from conflicting understandings of parenting are also a source of anticipation in marriages. Sometimes couples are looking into divorce even after having kids, as they can't handle the situation and the transition to the new phase of their lives. One rational solution is to start learning about Islamic parenting even before having children. And if they already have kids, they can still learn about it. There's ample material available online on Islamic parenting. Here, I just wanted to add the detrimental effects of divorce on kids. A family is the basic unit of any society, and the friction between parents breaks it apart. More than 1 million children each year experience their parents' divorce in the United States alone. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, at all ages, children frequently have psychosomatic symptoms as a response to anger, loss, grief, feeling unloved, and other stressors related to divorce. It is not uncommon for them to try to play one parent against the other because they need to feel in control and definitely test rules and limits. They get confused and hurt and are likely to feel guilty and responsible for the separation of their parents and feel that they should try to restore the marriage. It no doubt devastates them and has adverse effects on their personalities.
ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما.
This verse 74 of Surah Al-Furqan tells us, Our Lord, give us from our spouses and our children coolness of eyes, and make us the leaders of those who are conscious of Allah. Ameen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.